Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Wrestling POV. I am your host, Tony Diaz, along with Mimi Goody
Shalom.
and the third wheel, Rick Serrano, the third,
Hey, people!
and of course, our intern, Miguel Cole.
Hello! How's everybody
All right, man, there was a lot of stuff. There was a lot of stuff that happened this week in wrestling.
doing?
The hot tag news. Obviously, if you didn't hear about this,
You're
it's
gonna hear now.
the Jordan Miles T-shirt controversy. Of course, we're all gonna have our little input in it. Of course, we have Crown Jewel. We have our Facebook poll and comments and all this other stuff and Raw, Smackdown. What happened there? And of course, we have NXT versus AEW.
It's war, baby! It's war!
It is a war,
War.
man. Yeah. All right. So with that being said, let's just go straight on to the Facebook poll, shall we?
All right.
All right. So now the thing of it is, this wasn't a poll. This
Per se.
was it was a post. We put up a post, and Rick, you put this one up. It was about Jimmy Uso's DUI arrest video. He was going 80 in a 45 residential area, swerving and not the wrestling kind, and not cooperating with the officer. So you put down what is everybody's thought? So Rick, why'd you put this up? This happened a long time ago, man.
Well, because this was the first time we actually got to see the video of
True.
said arrest.
True.
And I wanted to show people how. Why was that funny, Miguel? I just wanted people to see the video and show how stupid he looked and sounded.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
just ridiculous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Very
Churlish.
churlish. Very churlish.
Yes, very true.
Yes. All right. So
yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, he was arguing with the officer,
Yeah.
trying to, I want my lawyer. Bro, you're not in the interrogation room. You're not there yet. You're asking for a lawyer when you're getting arrested. You're refusing to take the test that he has to see if you're drunk.
Yeah.
And you're arguing with him and you're going against it. Come on, people. Let's get real.
Yeah.
Well,
and plus he was drunk, so
he was drunk, and you could see because he was slurring. But that is also his right to ask for a
to be
lawyer.
drunk.
No, to ask for a lawyer and not to take and refuse to take the test.
Yeah, and he does have that right. Yes, you're right. But I mean, looking at the video, did you see the video, Mimi?
Yes, I did.
Looking at the video, though, I mean, he did kind of come off a little bit dumb.
Obnoxious and cocky and
Not really obnoxious.
I mean, looking at this video, Mimi looks a little inebriated.
It's early in the morning here in New Mexico.
I have
She has a shot in there. Yeah. All right. So now the thing of it is that, he did come off a little bit, like you can tell he was drunk. I mean, how would you not know? This is what I don't understand. So, all right. So anyway, Angel Miguel Torres, he says, stop hating on the Usos. Show some respect. Put some respect in my name. Stop sharing this bullshit. Now, Rick, you went after him.
Yeah, I usually don't respond on these posts. I like to save it for the show. But when people say stupid shit like this, I just have to say something.
But the thing of it is, this name sounds familiar. And actually, I want to put him as a hater comment already. And it was the first freaking one I read. Angel Miguel Torres. So the name sounds familiar. And it was something that we had put a different post about. I think it was the Usos. It was one of the Samoan Dynasty guys. And I think he was talking shit to us about this too. Like he knew them or something like that. Because I looked on his profile too, and he has a lot of pictures like Jimmy Snuka, not with him, mind you. He just had like a lot of pictures of Snuka and some of the guys from the Samoan Dynasty and shit like that. So this might be the guy. So you responded back to him when he stops driving drunk. People will stop sharing this shit. He gets respect for his in-ring ability, but outside of the ring, he has done so much damage to himself, his brother, and his wife. And then other people started getting onto him. Karina Gross, she said, "Angel, don't be rude."
Well, that was after he called me a fag. So
See that post must have got deleted because I don't see it.
Yeah. So
He called you that, really?
Yeah. So after
What
I
a
said
fucking
that,
asshole.
after I said what I said, he said, "All right, shut up, fag." And first of all, that word is no longer okay to be using.
Yeah.
And I reported him for using that word, and I stopped seeing the post. So then you told me that people were actually sticking up for me.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
when people started stepping in.
Yeah. And then Tony Blackson, he said, "What an idiotic stance to take." Paul Gross said, "Fuck you, Angel. You're a moron." Jonathan, hey, you know what? It is what it is. You're a degenerate asshole. Thomas came out. He says, "People like to say oos, don't they? You ain't Samoan, asshole. Get the fuck out of here." I love that one. Jason, you know what? You know what I want to do? Instead of having a hater comment, which I still want to keep, I want to have not the best comment. I mean, what can we call it? You gotta call it something. You know what I'm saying? Think of it while I'm saying these, but I do because that's like the best comment on here. Jason Bumer, he says, "Gotta love the fanboys that think people can do wrong because they're famous." Chris Turner said, "Fuck that shitty dude who drives drunk." Actually, wow. And then see, remember how I said how he was having that guy Angel or whatever the fuck his name is? He had pictures of Jimmy Snuka. So somebody goes, Joe Vernola. He said, well, first he said, "Be a man and use the actual word if you're going to use it instead of in that lame way you typed it out." And then he goes, his profile. He was talking about Angel's profile picture. Profile's cover photo is him admiring a murderer who got away with murder. Let's just move on. He was talking about Jimmy Snuka.
True.
All right.
We could call it the legendary comment.
That's too much. That's long. That's a long word. I don't want to use long words.
The cool comment of the week.
The cool comment. Really?
Because you don't want to use long words, right?
You're in second grade now? Jesus. Oh my God, that was so cool.
The awesome comment of the week.
Awesome. There we go. We'll leave it at the awesome
comment of the week.
The what?
The hot rod comment of the week.
Hot rod comment. No. No, we'll think of something. Or if you guys out there in the fans want to name something, there you go. It'll be on you. All right. So Josh Sanders, he says, "Why do they still have a license? It's going to take them killing someone or themselves." It's kind of
absolutely.
Mike Braddock, he says, "I've been."
And wait a second. We normally don't agree with Josh Sanders.
Well, Rick doesn't normally agree with Josh. Okay, Rick doesn't. For some reason, them two they butt heads, man.
I'm not a butt head.
Well, some days you are.
You're Beavis.
Yeah. Beavis. All right, so I've been there. I've been over the Usos for a long time. Talented in the ring and nothing but trouble outside the ring. That was by Mike Braddock. He's kind of right though. You know what I'm saying? I have to agree with him. I really do. All right, so no, not a hot tag. So now, obviously, if you were in the gutter over at Crown Jewel, Bray Wyatt.
Wait. Are we gonna do haters now?
Oh, not yet. Okay. Because we got other stuff to cover and people commented, so we got to see what they say. So obviously, at Crown Jewel, Bray Wyatt finally wins the Universal Championship. So I put down thoughts. Josh Sanders says he might bounce on both shows. He deserves it. Anton Hoffman, he says, "We can only hope Bray gets a better push as champion this time around than he did during his last title run." And you know what? He's absolutely right. You know why? His last title run wasn't shit.
And you know what? Ant the Liberated is probably jumping all around the world right now with excitement because his Washington Nationals won the World Series.
Oh, Lord.
The Washington Capitals won the Stanley Cup. Yeah. It's just, I mean, it sucks to be a Washington football fan.
I was going to say, what about the Redskins? I can't talk what I'm wearing.
But congrats, Anthem Liberated, on your
Yeah.
Nationals winning the World
So
Series.
wait a minute. Why are you congratulating him? He didn't win it.
I mean, he's a DC fan, man. That's my
I know. I'm just fucking.
NYDC fan.
All right. So then the WWE, with all this hoopla that happened, was this a happy accident? Because a lot of the WWE stars were stuck in Saudi Arabia. Apparently, the WWE issued the following statement regarding of what happened. The WWE roster is delayed in its return from Saudi Arabia following a historic performance. Blah blah blah. More than 175 superstars. They have 175 superstars.
I mean, I guess that was with production team as well and stuff
Well,
like that.
Well, if you gave me 2 more seconds, that's what I was about to say.
That's what they said. The superstar.
I was about to say that.
But you didn't say it yet.
But you need to give me time. Damn.
Well,
I don't know how that was funny.
the production teams are superstars.
Yes. All right.
Mr.
So
Tony, you were wrong.
what? Shut
You're
up,
wrong.
Miguel.
You're wrong.
All right. So the production crew and employees boarded a 747 charter flight back to the United States on Thursday after the door closed due to several aircraft problems, including mechanical issues. All passengers sat on the tarmac for 6 hours.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, with Smackdown set to emanate live from Buffalo, New York, several superstars felt so strongly that they've arranged for their own separate charter in order to make it back for the U.S. show due to the unforeseen issues. That charter will not land until after the live broadcast on Fox. The remainder of the WWE superstars, staff, and crew will depart on a charter set to depart Saudi Arabia later tonight, which was last night. Now, with that being said, obviously, we're going to go over this when we talk about SmackDown. They said the NXT guys, when it was like an emergency and they sent for NXT to go to Buffalo, they landed at 7:55, 5 minutes before showtime. That's why they did SmackDown with the preview of the Brock Lesnar match. And and they had a police escort from the airport to the stadium. And that's why Shayna Baszler came out first and but so Ian Chapman said, this is why you don't have a show overseas the day before a TV event.
Preach.
Yes. So, stop clapping. So, So, Wrestling POV's Middle Eastern correspondent Babu Bhat was live at Crown Jewel. If you know what Babu Bhat is, it's
very, very bad.
Very, very bad. Very, very bad. All right. So, I think that was it. So, hater comment. What's his name again?
Angel Miguel Torres.
Angel Miguel Torres, and he might be banned. I might have to ban his ass. Seriously, I might have to. All right, Miguel, do the honors.
Angel Miguel Torres, hater alert.
There you go. All right. Before we go to the hater comment, Jesus Christ. So before we go to the hot tag news, we have to cover the wrestling news from around the world. Hey, Rick. What's up? You want to take it away?
Sure.
Dang.
First, let's get into some birthdays. All right. Our first birthday, Darren Young, turns 36 years old.
What?
36?
36. Not so young.
Wow.
He is young.
Yeah, that's very young.
Not so
Very
young.
Very young. Very
Next
young for
up,
young.
Edge. Josh Sanders. Did you get him a birthday present? He turns 46 years old.
Wow.
Bro, stay out the freaking ring. There's no reason to come back. 46, that's... Bro, 46?
They're saying he's training.
Listen, man.
I know
I'm
a 47-year-old who could still kick your ass, Rick.
Who?
Damn. Who?
Tony Diaz.
Well, Tony Diaz is 48.
Sorry.
I hit 48. I'm done. No, I think I might have one more match in me. Hey. What you laugh for, man? That's fucked up.
That's what they all say. Every retired wrestler's like, I think I can do one more.
I think I got one more. I think I got one. At least
of
I was.
fire,
At least wait a minute. At least I wasn't on the disabled list for like 5 years.
first of all, it's been second of all, I'm still rehabbing. All right, MVP.
6 years, yeah.
MVP turns 46 years old.
Who?
MVP.
Oh, MVP. Yeah.
Yeah.
That man's hurting, man.
Yeah.
There's a little documentary they did on him, and loves wrestling, but took a toll on him.
I don't
That's
know how with his stupid
bowling.
Paul Orndorff. Tony and Paul are about the same age. 70 years old.
Damn. He's got one more match in him too.
Probably does.
Probably. Mr. Wonderful, Mr. Depends wearing old bag of dirt.
That is messed up.
With that being said,
wrong.
It's now time for the wrestling news from around the world.
I don't hear shit. No, I'm kidding. All right.
All right.
I'm like, what do you do?
As Tony mentioned earlier, the flight leaving Saudi Arabia was grounded for 6 hours due to some mechanical and I love that I can do air quotes now. People can see it.
People can see.
Technical issues. So they were going to take another flight, but it wasn't going to make it in time, right? But there's a rumor that has it that something else has happened.
Like what?
Vince McMahon knows what it is. Come on, man. It's got something happened. Mechanical issues, technical issues. Really? You guys are buying that?
Well, I mean, what else can we think of? I mean,
payoff or something like you're not going to leave this country until you pay me. And Vince McMahon's like, oh, you guys got me behind the balls.
You're so stupid.
Vince had to pay him off. I feel like that happened. I'm sorry.
You think so?
No.
I feel like something political happened. Technical and mechanical issues. They said, we're going to have you by the balls. The big great
Oh, Lord. I don't know. You might be right. I don't know.
I know that no. I don't think so. I think the surrounding areas maybe have threatened, with all the Al Qaeda and ISIS and all that stuff going on, and they could have grounded them for safety issues. But as far as the king holding Vince hostage, no.
I don't know.
I mean, they paid him like how much money?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They wanted the money back. They're like,
their money back, yeah.
You put that woman on this show. I got to take the money back, okay? All right, that's all I got for the news. Tony, rumors.
All right, so the rumors, a new version of the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast for the WWE Network. Looks like it'll be called Steve Austin's Broken Skull Sessions. Yeah. Yeah, well,
that is garbage. Stone Cold Broken Skull Sessions. Stone Cold Broken Skull Sessions. Stone Cold. Come on.
I mean, Jesus, even JR is like, what the hell is that?
What the hell is going on with that movie? Stone Cold Broken Sessions.
What the hell? Stone Cold. Stone Cold. Come on now, I love you. All right, Evans and Natalya were chosen because they can do the match with no potential cultural backlash. So, I mean, honestly, if you really think about it, I don't mind the choice that they did. Natalya being from Canada, I know has a big part to do with that. And of course, Lacey Evans, a former Marine. So think about it.
I mean, I'll talk about more of that later in the show.
I got something to say.
Yeah.
So
all right, wait. I got something to say.
I want to say. Wait, not till we talk about Crown Jewel yet. So there's some speculation. Sorry, hey, we gotta finish this. We're gonna talk about Crown Jewel. We're gonna let you get your say. All right. So there's some speculation that the Bray Wyatt Universal title could end up set up for a big trade between Raw and SmackDown. So after what happened on SmackDown, I'm kind of like, fugazi on what the hell is going on here. So
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
I don't see a trade happening now.
I don't. Well, after what happened on SmackDown, I don't know. Because Rey Mysterio is a Raw guy, right?
Yeah, so that's why. So
I don't know.
Brock
Who knows? Maybe they switched. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows? All right. So that's all I got for the rumors. Rick, take it away with the injury, man.
Yo, these pauses are killing me, man. Rick,
What pauses? I didn't pause.
Rick.
Just
Rick.
go.
There are no injuries. That's why I take time to fill in. All right.
All right, so let's go to the hot tag news of the week. Obviously, this is going to be something that's going to be heavily discussed. You can, and now I'm going to say this before we go on to what the hot tag news is. All of our thoughts and opinions are our own. Okay, it is not meant to offend anybody. It is not meant to belittle anybody, but it's our own opinion, and that's why we do this show. So take it for what it's worth. Don't hate us. If you disagree with us, that's fine. You know, that's all fine and dandy. Just post comments on our Facebook page then and tell us why you disagree with us or tell us why you agree with it. Either way. All right. So now the hot tag news of the week is the Jordan Myles t-shirt controversy. If you don't know who Jordan Myles is, he is the one that won the breakout tournament in NXT. And apparently what's been going on is that there was a t-shirt out that had the word Jordan Myles and had it smiling with the red outline and on a black shirt. He's crying racism and all this other stuff. So the poll that we did on that, and I'm going to read some of these because a lot of people commented. I mean, a lot, and I'm not going to go through all of them, so I apologize. But the poll is the Jordan Myles t-shirt controversy an act of racism or ignorance on WWE's part? So, Rick, you wrote this out. Tell me. Talk to me, Goose.
All right. Well, Toad, I got to tell you this. Honestly, I didn't know who Jordan Myles was. I mean, you had to tell me. I mean, I was just like, wait, that's the breakout star? I just didn't remember him.
That's the one that we were talking about a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen them either.
Yeah. So I'm just like confused as who this person was. But that being said, I am kind of on Jordan Myles' side with this, where I feel like that shirt should never have been produced. Now, I know people have said, well, Jordan Myles approved it. Even if he approved it, somebody in his team could have been like, Jordan, do you not see what it looks like? And maybe he realized it and wanted to change it. Or maybe he just wants to get some clout out of it. But at the end of the day, when I first opened up my Facebook and I saw that, I said, what's this blackface thing doing right now? And then I read it. It had something to do with wrestling. I said, oh, shit. So it was just like a big deal for me. Like, for me, as soon as I saw it, I saw blackface. I'm sorry if anybody disagrees with me. The black T-shirt with the red lips, I mean, that's something synonymous to blackface. I mean, it's something that's been going on for decades, and it's just been a symbol of hate. And especially in recent years, you've been seeing a lot more of it with people fighting against it. Now, is it racist on WWE's part, or is it ignorance? At this point, I'm sick of people saying, well, I didn't know. So I am going to side with the racist part, just because I'm sick of people saying they were ignorant to it. Because you do know what this is. You know, like, people do know what this image is. Go ahead.
All right. First of all, I saw it and I was like, oh, that's a cute little thing with a smiley face. My kids are half black. Okay. So it's not even like ignorance or stuff like that. I didn't notice it until you pointed it out. Yeah. Once you pointed it out, I was like, oh yeah, that is okay. I see it now. But in the beginning, I didn't see it. So it's in between like ignorance and racist. You know what I mean? Like, I say, okay, the person didn't notice it, and then they did. Okay, let's change it.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And go ahead.
Yeah, so it's just like, no, I understand what you're saying. Because, like, listen, this is a touchy subject, right?
Very touchy.
But for those people that are out there, like, in a lot of the comments, they're like, I don't get it. What is this? And then when people put examples of blackface, they then go and insult those people. So it's just like, listen, we need to be better educated on this. You know,
We do, but they're also saying about the people who don't recognize it either.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I'm saying? Because I'm sorry to say, just like what Mimi just said, when I first saw it, I didn't see nothing racist about it. I really didn't until somebody said, dude, that looks like, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, it does. But what people has to understand, Jordan Myles, and I got kind of an exclusive from somebody that used to work with Jordan Myles too. So I'm gonna save that for the end. But either way, looking at Jordan Myles, his whole character was what? Smiling. He had the big smile. You know what I'm saying? And the thing of it is, for me, I've even said it on previous episodes. He smiles too much. That is way too much. Good athlete, great worker, good wrestler. And for me, it's like he was just smiling too much. But that's irrelevant. So when the idea comes up for something like that, was it in ignorance or racist? Like with Mimi, I have to go like in the middle with it, only because they based that t-shirt on the character that he was portraying, a person that smiles all the time. Okay, when they designed the shirt, because I got a statement from WWE on their behalf, and this is what it says, and then I'll go on with my point. Where is it? Albert Hardy, which is his real name, approved this t-shirt for sale. As always, we work collaboratively with all of the performers to develop logos and merchandise designs and get their input and approval before proceeding. This was the same process with Albert, and we respond swiftly once he later requested that the logo t-shirt be redesigned. No t-shirts were sold. This t-shirt was not even in on the shop, on the WWE shop. Okay. Now, granted, if he approved it, okay, I'm not defending WWE now, so I just want everybody to get that straight. But when he initially approved it, okay, they're saying that it was done on the white shirt. 9 times out of 10, they always do their designs on a white shirt first. Okay. 90% of the WWE's t-shirts on what? A black shirt.
Black or gray?
No, it's 90%. It's always black. Okay. The other 10%, you look at New Day's colors, and I think AJ's is red. Hot Rod is white. There you go. That's a racist shirt, Rick. And I forgot who else. But either way, so when it was placed on the black shirt, maybe that's when someone told Jordan Myles and says, "Yo, dude, that kind of looks a little bit racist." Did he go back and say, "Hey, this comes off a little bit racist. Can you change it?" They changed it. Yeah. They changed it. Okay. If you look at it, they stuck with this, the lettering was different. They didn't do the smile. They did kind of like a graffiti type Jordan Myles on it. And they still kept the red circle, and they still put it on the black t-shirt. He approved that one too. So, I mean, come on now. I mean, you guys, everybody's got to see this for what it is, because like I said, when I first saw it, I didn't think it was racist, and it's not ignorance on my part. I just hate racist shit, period. So I try not to look at everything and say, wow, that's racist. That's racist. No, I'm not about that. Okay. When someone pointed it out and says, yo, that fucking shit is racist, I'm like, how you figure? How's it racist? And then they said it. I'm like, yeah, all right. No, and I agree. I do agree. But if this man is doing all this, and not one shirt was sold, and it wasn't on the WWE shop, what was his game plan then? Because if you think about it, after that breakout tournament, he had that match with Adam Cole, and all of a sudden you didn't see his ass again. But who do you see? Cameron Grimes, the guy that he beat. You see him get more television time. So there must have been something else that happened after that during, behind closed doors that we don't know about. And obviously Triple H ain't going to say anything about it, because he doesn't want to do this tit for tat shit. You know what I'm saying? And this is his way of saying, I need my TV time. Now I'm going to go, this person that I talked to worked with Jordan Myles in Ring of Honor. He did not want me to say his name, he did, because he's still like between Ring of Honor and still doing tryouts with WWE. But he said Jordan Myles is a great worker. He's a good worker, but he complains too much. That's all he said. He goes, he complains too much. And if he doesn't get his way, he cries about it. And then he starts making derogatory comments towards people. Now, with that being said, when he said that, I thought, wow, look at what he just said about Jay Lethal. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry to say, and this is my point of view. Okay, you cannot cry racism when you talking about somebody else in a racist way. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work. To me, that's a double standard, man. You can't come out and cry. Like if he just left it at that, I would have been like, all right, you know what? Just go for yours or whatever. If that's your way of trying to get TV time, so be it. You know what I'm saying? But to call Jay Lethal and Uncle Tom, that's not right, man. Mm-hmm. Titus O'Neil told him, you going around, I agree that it is a racist shirt, but you doing it the wrong fucking way. Titus O'Neil, who put his hands on his boss, who clearly could have fired him because he did it on TV. Clearly could have fired him. He's still employed. Booker T, he made his comments and now he's getting backlash over his comments because he didn't agree with him. Why is it that when somebody doesn't agree with somebody else's agenda, all of a sudden they're the racist? I don't understand. I really don't.
Well, that's where it comes to me, where instead of hating on people, you educate, and that's what I feel like Titus was doing. I feel like Booker T was doing. Don't discriminate. Don't go into this hatred comments and stuff like that. Don't start an argument. But educate like they did. And I feel like a lot of comments from people are just, I'm on Jordan Myles' side, I'm on Booker's side, It's not about that. It's about understanding where the pain and suffering comes from. So I don't agree with Jordan Myles at all. I think the way he handled this was in poor taste.
Very poor.
I understand you want to get your voice out there. You want people to see what they came up with. Fine. Yeah. But to attack Jay Lethal was completely stupid. Like
you know what though? I'm sorry to say that. Jay Lethal is 10 times the athlete that Jordan Myles is.
Oh hell yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to go there, but truth be told, why are you gonna go after a man that's doing his thing? Mm-hmm. That's doing his thing. And come on, man. Anyway, all right, so this is what Booker T said. He goes, I don't know how this T-shirt got out without him knowing about it. It's not our job to step up and defend Jordan Myles over his T-shirt. It's a racially driven concept of a T-shirt. In 2019, I cannot think that the guy actually went into it thinking, let's make a racial shirt about Jordan Myles, which I agree with. A lot of people may think that, but I just don't think the firestorm is worth going through this. It's just not. This going to social media crap is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. You can be working at Jack in the Box, and if something happens, you want to go to social media and talk about it. Your business and your job is your business with that company. It's not for the world to come in. I don't know when is the last time somebody on social media signed my check. I've never complained to social media about any racial situation that I've been in. And I'll tell you right now, if anybody knows me, anybody in the wrestling knows Booker T. They know exactly what I have gone through and how I've handled every situation. There's never been a racial issue that has gone over my head or that I've swept under the rug. Every single time someone has said anything racial around me, I've handled it. And to hear this Uncle Tom crap, I've known Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal's put in almost 20 years in the business. Hey, he's just like me.
Except he's still working.
He's still working. Yeah. That's fucked up. Damn. Wow. All right. So he goes, he's no Uncle Tom. I've heard people call me an Uncle Tom. And if they do it, I wish they do it to my face. Don't do it behind those characters. Don't do it behind social media. Don't do it behind a cloak of anatomy. Do it to my face because I will show you what an Uncle Tom really looks like. How is Booker T wrong? That's what I don't understand.
No,
How is Booker T now all of a sudden an Uncle Tom?
No, Booker T is not wrong. I feel like they feel like anybody that sides with WWE is an Uncle Tom. I've heard it. I've heard it say about Mark Henry as well. I heard it say about Ron Simmons as well.
Yeah. And The Rock too.
I've heard it about The Rock. I've heard it about the New Day. It's just like anybody that works with this company, like we can't do that. I do understand though that what people want is for these African American men and women and Latino men and women to stop being the dancing, the smiling, and the over-the-top characters.
Yeah. But at the same time, these are the guys that comes up with these characters. Okay? They are. Yes, they are. Because New Day, they're the ones that came up with that gimmick. They went to Vince. And Vince was just like, do you think the gospel thing is really going to work? That's what Vince said. And he goes, just let us do our thing. And then, we'll take it from there. And then Vince, because he does have input in it, obviously, because the guy owns the company. But he wanted Big E to do like the preacher talk and da-da-da. And then
if you remember
in the beginning, they did,
and
then didn't really fail. They just twisted it around. They made adjustments to it. Now, was that racial? I mean, these are the guys that came up with this gimmick. Okay, the Street Profits, they came up with that gimmick.
That works, yeah.
It does work. Not all, I mean, my thing is, like I said, you look at other, because it's not, for me, I hate it when they say that, oh, we need a black champion and blah, blah, blah. Why can't you just enjoy wrestling for what it is? You know what I'm saying? I watch wrestling to get away from that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Because if you really want to go down to it, when was the last Puerto Rican champion they had? When was the last Dominican champion that they had? There was none. The closest we had was Eddie Guerrero, that became champion. So, but you don't hear a lot of controversy over that. You know what I'm saying? Stop making wrestling, stop bringing race into wrestling. It does not fit. It does not belong. Don't come out and say, oh, we need to do that. No, just stop. Because I'm sorry to say, I'm half Puerto Rican, half Dominican. And then the thing that pisses me off, and I've heard this said too, and it really irks me. If I were to win the WWE championship, okay, they will say, oh, he's the first Puerto Rican champion. But then there's other people out there, they'll say, well, he's not fully Puerto Rican, so he doesn't count. Wait, what? Are you fucking serious? Mimi's 14% black. She can't say if she is. She can't come out and say that she's black, first black champion. Oh, they got to stop with this bullshit. They really do. How do they know how much percentage of black you are? That makes no sense. No sense. And before anybody thinks that I'm not. Okay, my nephew's half black. And if you look at him, he looks white. His dad is fully black. I don't know how much percentage, but my nephew's half black. He's half black, half Puerto Rican, and half German. That's a weird mix. But exactly. But, the bottom line is I just can't stand when people say, like when they said that shit about The Rock. Wait, wasn't The Rock champion? Well, he's not really black. What the fuck? Wait, what? His dad was black. I just cannot stand this racist shit. I hate that in shit. Wrestling. It does not fucking belong. And I'm sorry to say, probably the most racist thing I've ever seen WWE do, I've never heard anything about it. The Mexicools coming out in lawnmowers. I mean, come on. You know what I'm saying? Brock Lesnar, when he was in that feud with Eddie Guerrero, coming out in a sombrero. To me, that shit is funny. I love a racist joke anyway. But
how about when Booker T said,
yeah, ninja. He said it live on TV. You know what I'm saying? But that's not the point, though. But what about when New Day, when Kofi was imitating a white guy interviewing? Nobody really said anything about that. You can't have this double standard on racism if you're gonna. I don't agree with it. Period. It, I had maybe this much, a little bit of a percentage to agree with Jordan Miles, and I lost all respect for him because of the way he's handling this situation on social media, calling another black person an Uncle Tom. The minute you say that, you lose all credibility with everything that you're trying to stand for. It doesn't make sense, and I fucking hate it. It does not belong in wrestling, period. It really doesn't. It's just, again, another point, Rick. You know, if somebody came up, if you won the championship, you can be like, yo, I'm the first Italian to be the champion. And somebody come up and like, Rick, you only, you're half. So you're not, it doesn't count. You be pissed. You're trying to represent both of your cultures because you're half Puerto Rican and you're half Italian. You're trying to represent both cultures and it's still not good enough. I just don't get it. It's like, what are you trying to accomplish here?
That's a whole another thing with being biracial. Being biracial is always an issue because you're never really accepted on either side.
Exactly.
You're always seen as it being different. I do have to say though, I disagree with the racism in wrestling. I feel like wrestling started in the South, and it was always you always seen these polarizing athletes that was usually genuinely a white person. For me, racism is everywhere. Whether you like it or not, it's always going to be in something until we put a stop to it, until we start seeing things. And I feel like the movies are having the best part of it. I mean, we're putting black actresses and black actors and things. We're putting Hispanic. We're seeing a lot more Asian actors being portrayed as more than just the stereotypes that they've been given. So I do feel like in wrestling, people are starting to say, hey, why can't Kofi be the champion? Why can't Rey Mysterio or what's his name, Andrade be a champion? Why can't Shinsuke Nakamura be a champion? So I feel like times are changing with that, and we're seeing more of a change. I am all for it. Look at DX. DX dressed up as the Nation of Domination in blackface. That was terrible. I remember watching it as a kid. I was just cringing.
X-Pac like, did it.
Yeah,
when
I was
he came
like,
out
what?
As Biz Markie.
Yeah, I was like, what is this? It was funny, but when you think about where it came from, the 1920s, the 30s, where white actors are putting black makeup on and big red lips to knock people down, say they're not good enough to act, but we're going to portray them in this horrible way. I mean,
no, I agree with that.
No, and
but you also got to remember too.
The times are changing.
But not only that though, but you got to understand too. When X-Pac did that, of course they asked permission from Mark Henry. Mark Henry said, "Yeah, go ahead, dude, go for it." But it makes in with the storyline. So, but at the other thing though, you're saying why can't we have, why Kofi can't be the champion or black and or Oriental and this and that. The bottom line is though, you have to be good in wrestling. If you're not good and if you're not selling tickets, why is a promoter gonna put you as their top guy? You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry to say, nothing against Kofi. But, because my feelings are mutual with Seth Rollins, did he really have a good championship run? No. I'm going to say no. Seth Rollins isn't either. And it has nothing to do with color. It has something to do with what's going on.
With the in-ring ability.
Does it have a lot? No, in-ring, Kofi's good. I just personally think that the storyline or whatever that he's been involved in, it just doesn't work. With Seth Rollins, I think Rick had a lot to do with it because he does that voice, and I can't take Seth Rollins serious no more. I can't. You know what I'm saying? Are you kidding me? I did cartwheels, half a cartwheel when the Fiend won the belt. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry to say, I've never seen color as a subject for anything. If you're good, you're good. If you're not, you're just not. Don't cry about it. Get better. You know what I'm saying? That's all you can do. Just work hard, just like everybody else does.
Big E's one of the hardest working people, and he is being shelved I mean, say what you will about the success of New Day, but he's not being given that opportunity.
We've said it so many times about Big E that he needs to go away from New Day. But I've even said it about Xavier Woods too.
Yep.
You know, as talented as he is, he needs to he could be a huge mid-carder, and that's not a bad thing to say.
Not at all.
It's not. He can elevate. He can elevate either the US or the IC. You know what I'm saying? Big E put his ass in a heavyweight. You know, he's good. He is good. We've said it many times. Mimi.
Going back to Jordan Myles' shirt. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, granted, there was an error. They fixed the error. Why is he putting this news out there if it hasn't been sold? Right. That is basically is the issue there.
Yeah. Why is and that's what everybody else is saying.
All right, fine.
Why are you putting your business out there?
Somebody pointed it out to you like you pointed it out to me, Rick, and be like, "Oh, that is blackface." I'm like, "Oh shit, yeah, it is."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Boom, he goes and they changed it like this. You don't like it? All right, come on, let's fix it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People make mistakes.
Yes.
Okay. Was it a huge mistake? Yeah, it kind of was. Okay. But they fixed it before one t-shirt got sold.
Absolutely.
Right.
So then why is he acting like a dick and putting it out there like that?
Well, and that's
and you know what it is? He's riding on the coattails of what's happening in our society today, that everybody is, oh, it's black, oh, it's white, oh, it's this, oh, it's that. Listen, I'm fucking too white to be black. I speak too good of an English. I know, too good of an English.
Yeah.
To be Puerto Rican. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I speak too bad of an English to be white. You know what I'm saying? So I'm more neutral than anybody else out there. So the thing is that people, our society, you know, we're supposed to be moving forward and learning from our history, learning from our mistakes. What they're doing is they hang it on to that. What happened back in the 20s and the 30s and all that stuff, and fucking bringing it out. Be like, oh, look at what happened. Look at what happened. All right, yeah, you know what? That shit did happen, but it's up to us to change it.
To stop, to change it, yeah.
Well,
yeah, make the change. Again, like I said before, too, you can't cry racism when you're saying racist shit.
Oh, yeah.
You just can't. It just doesn't make. Once you do that, I'm sorry, you just lost all of that cred with me. Anything you say is irrelevant because even like he deleted tweets because he was saying some crazy shit.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan brought up and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like, stop already, dude. You're just burying yourself more, and you're making it difficult for yourself to get work elsewhere because who's going to want to hire you?
Yeah.
Seriously. Because if they had the same mentality as what we were just saying, who's going to hire you? I'm sorry to say, if I had a promotion, I don't give a damn how good he is. I'm not going to put him. No, I just won't. Well, I don't need that shit.
I just want to finish with saying this. Let's not forget, like, racism and segregation, all that stuff went into the 60s and stuff like that. But I also want to say that the problem I have with Jordan Myles is, yes, he put this whole thing on blast. Fine. You can do that. That's your right to do that. But you have the power, right? You have this fame, right? You have power to put an end to it, and instead you did it for clout. You did it to promote yourself. You tried to become this leader, and people saw right through it. And
they started calling him Jesse Smollett.
And what he did was, and just like Jesse Smollett, you took advantage of a serious issue, and you put people back years and decades. Because now, whenever somebody says, you know what, that's blackface, they're gonna be like, well, you're doing what Jordan Myles did, and that's bullshit.
He made it harder, is what he did.
And all this work that minorities have built to become taken seriously and to get rid of all this hate. Now, when you read the comments, you'll see, what is this? And then you hear all the negative and the hatred from certain people. And it's like, you created this.
On both sides.
On both sides, yes.
On both sides, which is ridiculous.
Yes. Because we all should be on the same side.
Yeah,
Listen,
absolutely.
there's no place, like you said, Tony. There's no place in wrestling for racism. There's no place in this planet for racism.
Absolutely.
And that's where it needs to stop. Do not
But
take this thing and make it into a thing to fight against people, because right now you're creating I don't know the words. It's just you're creating an issue that shouldn't be, because you're setting people back decades.
Absolutely.
Because people are fighting this every day.
You're creating the segregation.
Yeah.
You're not helping.
And you know what? On the flip side to it, you know, there were people that were getting on his case too. You know, and you know what? The things that they were saying, I don't agree with. It's like, dude, stop. You know, you're trying to tell him off, and but you're calling him the same thing, and you're only proving his point.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because I've seen all of it. It's just like, dude, wow. But at the same time, he created this. And when I say, you know, there is no, you know, place of, you know, there shouldn't be racism in wrestling, that's with everything. You know, I watch wrestling. I enjoyed wrestling. I've done wrestling because I wanted to get away from racism that was out in the world. You know what I'm saying? And then now now you're bringing that shit into something that I love. And I don't want to fucking see that. I really don't. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see it out in the world either. You know, but what he did, and then on top of that, doing videos of him laughing at people and this and that, it's like, dude, you are not helping your cause. You're not. You know, you want me to buy into your cause, but then yet you're calling other races, you know, racial things. You can't do that. Even your same race, it's like, no, dude, don't do that. Why are you knocking another brother down just because you ain't getting no fucking show?
Who had nothing to do with it?
It had nothing to do with it.
Nothing at all.
Nothing to do with it.
He's not even WWE.
And I guarantee you this, though, if Jay Lethal was in WWE, he'll knock that shit out the park. I can guarantee that. As talented as he is, hell yes, he would. Hell yes, he would. You know, we've said it many times on this show, you know, I'm just pissed off. Do we got time to read some of these comments or no?
I would say, listen, people, if you have an interest in what some of these people said, do check out our Facebook page. There are hundreds of comments.
Yeah. I wanted to read this one now, and I need some clarification on this because I've never seen it. This is from Zach Fellows. He said, this is the company that had one shirt with Sin Cara with his dick out?
I've never seen that.
I've never seen that.
No.
I think maybe that was Seth Rollins.
That is fucked up, man. Yeah, put that on the shirt. Little dingy wingy.
He was like,
yeah, that little dingy wingy.
Oh shit, nah, bro.
Really? Get out of here. I can't see his oh geez.
Come on. That's the lighting or something.
No,
that's a design flaw.
It's a design flaw. But that's bad.
It's bigger than fucking Seth Rollins. Show me that again.
Guys,
yeah, maybe you
guys,
can see that again.
Look,
wait, right. My glasses. Show me that again.
So our listeners, you have to check it out. If you're not watching the video, check it out. You look up Sin Cara T-shirt, and he's right. This company has some design flaws that they need to look into.
Yeah.
That was terrible. That looks like.
But
hey, you gotta call me.
Now we can talk about this for like the next hour or so. We went long enough with this because we still got other things to cover. So with that being said, you know, like what Rick was saying, if you guys want to, you know, just look at the comments and stuff like that. If you still want to have your input, that's fine. Throw it on there. We'll probably talk about it next week. It's just we're not really running. We can go as long as we want, but it's just we got other stuff to cover, and we all had great points. It's not
and I'm out of coffee.
Okay, but you know, it's not like we had you know, everybody was right. You know, it's not like I was disagreeing with anybody. Everybody was right. It's just the bottom line is
the thing you're disagreeing with is that you're calling your own race and you're calling other races out as racist. Meanwhile, here you are doing racist comments.
But the bottom line is and I'll say this until I'm freaking 6 feet under, is that there's no place for racism, period. And especially in wrestling, because that's what I get away from all the politics, from all the bullshit that's out in the world, from everything that's so bad out there. I go into wrestling because it takes us to a whole nother world. It takes us to a whole, it's our soap opera, and we just don't need it. There's no place for it, period. But for me, there's no place for it in wrestling. So
it's our sanctuary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's basically, we find enjoyment and peace in wrestling.
Yeah. So with that being said, we're going to do our 3-second pose. Psych. All right. Why do we do that?
Wait. I'm here. Wait, 3-second pose.
Oh, you're a little late, Miguel.
Oh, dang. Screw you guys.
All right. All right, so let's go Crown Jewel. We'll go over that one first, and then we'll do Raw, then we'll do NXT, and then AEW, and then SmackDown. All right, I'll go first. The lowest point for me was the Brock and Cain Velasquez match, and the reason why, I gave it a 1.5, but they did say that Cain Velasquez's knee was in worse shape than what it was, so they still wanted to go through with the match, so that's why it was as short as it was. For me, the highest point of Crown Jewel was not even Seth versus The Fiend, because the match was good. I gave it a 3, but it wasn't the top one. For me, it was the Team Flair versus Team Hogan. Ricochet took over that match. He was outstanding in that match. Drew McIntyre was awesome in that match. I gave that match a 4. Overall, for me, Crown Jewel was a 2.66. Of course, with the women being the first, I gave it a 3. The match wasn't that great, but I gave it a 3 because of what they accomplished, what they did. I'm just upset at the motherfucker who threw a bottle at Natalya. Yeah. That shit pissed me off. I was like, are you fucking serious? Really? Come on now. I mean, it took a lot for Natalya to hold that in, to hold everything in, and then she just let it out at the end of the match, which, I think it grabbed everybody by the feels. So, all right. Yeah. So overall, my rating was 2.66. We'll go with Mimi and then Rick.
All right. First, I want to say,
put your glasses on.
Yeah, I know, right? Shukran lak likupul Amir al-Fi al-Musara, which means in Arabic, which I know I messed it up, says, thank you for accepting women in wrestling. There's always one asshole everywhere you go.
Oh, you were saying lickaboo or some shit.
There's always,
what is she going on with this? Lickaboo.
There's always one asshole, you know. I mean, because that probably that same asshole is the one who threw a bottle at Ric Flair too,
Yeah.
So,
stupid.
But I just want to say thank you, because I cried throughout that whole entire match. Yeah. And this is the first time I'm actually watching Crown Jewel. I didn't watch last year's Crown Jewel because there were no women.
Yeah.
And I watched it because I heard the women was there.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So my lowest was the Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar. My highest was Seth and The Fiend. Was a 4. My overall was a 2.6.
Wow.
Listen, I do want to say this real quick about the women. I think it was total BS that Natalya and Lacey Evans was selected. You want to call racist? You want to call racism? This is when you call it. Because you get the 2 whitest and the 2 blondest women you got, and you put them out there. Why was Sasha Banks not called? Why was Bayley not there? You could have had Bayley versus Becky, and they could have tore the house down.
Well, in fairness, Sasha was in the first ever women's match in India with Alexa Bliss.
Yes, that's true.
So,
but again, you want to call racism? That I can see that there. Also,
I don't see it at all.
For me, also,
I think it was good because just the fact that Lacey Evans was a Marine.
That's fine. Why Natalya didn't have to be there?
Well, come on, you got to give Natalya respect. She's been there the longest out of all of them.
Exactly.
She deserves it more than
and she was part of the revolution.
Okay.
And for her to break through this, she needed to be there.
Just like they said on Total Divas, you don't have to be in the first of everything, Natalya, because Natalya.
Sasha Banks don't either.
No, I agree. That's why I said Bayley. And that's why I said Bayley. And that's why I said Bayley.
It was the first crown, Triple Crown.
Okay, but Natalia has been part of the first everything, and
well, she's the most senior too.
Okay, but just because she's the senior doesn't mean she has to be part of everything. She is not the best anymore. She's no longer the best at talking. She's not the best at wrestling. She's on her way out. Second of all,
it would have been what's that drunk chick's name?
Alicia Fox.
Alicia Fox. Okay. If Alicia Fox wasn't fucked up all the time, I bet you it would have been Alicia Fox and
never.
Yes.
She doesn't have the clout. She don't have the same clout that they have. First of all, Lacey Evans
lost her clout because she was fucking.
She lost her clout because she was trash. And I love Alicia Fox, but she was trash. She was never taken serious.
She was good.
She was never taken serious though. She was always a lower than mid card. She was never taken seriously. And she does not have the same. First of all, Lacey Evans, good for you. You were in the Marines, but guys, we just said a week ago or 2 weeks ago how green she is. She don't belong there.
You know what they did? They had the most senior person and one of the most junior people.
Then you should have had Alexa Bliss or anybody else. I don't see.
Alexa Bliss she was involved in the first match in India.
Yeah,
with Sasha Banks.
Lacey Evans. And on the other side of it all.
Wait, so you didn't have a problem with Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks being the first in India?
No.
Okay, then. So what's the? I mean, and
they were both still new.
They were still kind of new.
They were both on the top at that time. Both women. Lacey Evans has no reason to be there.
I think she has every. I like that. I like the decision. I didn't see nothing wrong with that decision. So
she was green as hope. But I do have to say this. On Saudi Arabia side, fuck you for having them wear fucking extra large t-shirts and no makeup.
Yeah.
Listen.
That was ridiculous.
And Lacey Evans was completely out of character. Like you want the men to do the men things and wear underwear and wear makeup because some of them wear makeup and have
their chests and their muscles
and all their muscles. But the women, they can't do that. Come on, bro. Like you're 1,000 years behind. Get it together. Yes, baby.
Okay. Listen, you want foreigners to come into our country and respect our laws and respect what we do, then we should give them the same respect. If that is their religious preferences, if that is how they do things, granted, yes, they are like 100 years behind. Okay. I kind of agree with you, but I disagree with you. In order for them to change, we have to take baby steps. Okay. The same way you want us to fucking take baby steps on the goddamn wall that's being built. You know what? They want open borders. You have to respect our fucking country the same way we have to respect their fucking country. So this thing of you being upset because they're fully covered, you know what? The baby step is that they have fucking women wrestling. That is a breakthrough.
No, how I see it is probably the complete opposite. They come into and I'm sorry if we get into a little too political, but this is just how I stand. And we got to get back into the wrestling part of it. Is that they come into our country demanding that we respect their beliefs, their religious beliefs, and their customs and stuff like that. For me, it's the same with them. You want to, they need to respect. Hey, this is how free our women are. So I don't agree with them being like almost 3 layers of clothing on them and no makeup. I don't agree with that at all. They should have just came out in their regular shit. And nah, you know what? It's funny how the double standard is there, No, you come into your country, but you need to respect our religious beliefs and all this other stuff. We need our mosques in your country and da-da-da. But we go to their country, they're like, no, we don't allow that here. Wait, what?
But that's the thing.
So
the U.S. lets it get away with it.
I know. We got to go back into wrestling.
Yeah, so bottom line is maybe have him wear a large or a medium-sized shirt.
Not even for me. It was not even that. What they had on was appropriate enough.
Yeah,
but I mean, I get why they did it though because they were both black. You know, they were both in black. It's kind of hard to tell
Yeah.
with two blondes in a black suit, you know, fighting. It's like, wait, who's who again? So,
Yeah.
I mean, I get why they did it with the shirt, but at the same time, the black could have been a different color or something like that.
All right,
So,
for
go ahead,
me,
Rick.
the low points. I have two low points. They were both 0.5s for me. Tyson Fury versus Braun Strowman did not need to be that long because it was the finish that I said it was going to be. It was going to be a knockout punch.
Yeah.
Second of all, that bullshit. Tyson cannot take a bump. He doesn't know how to bump.
He's a boxer. And this is his first time in the ring.
So why have him?
Oh, wait a minute. He did a lot. Hold up. He did a lot better than fucking Floyd Mayweather.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I would have gave
And he
him.
lasted longer than Floyd Mayweather.
I have no problem with him stepping in the ring, getting paid $15 million to throw one punch. I would have been fine with that. But to have him embarrass wrestling with those horrible bumps, come on. My second 0.5 that I gave out, Mansoor versus Cesaro.
Yes.
You knocked out Cesaro to this fucking bum? This bum who's got a Royal Rumble win and who's gotten a fucking match win over Cesaro? Because he's from Saudi Arabia? You know what? Yeah. Bailey's like 0-10 in San Jose. Are you And for me, the high point was the Fiend getting the win over Rollins. I gave it a 2.5. For me, Crown Jewel was trash. I gave it a 1.4 stars. Hot garbage poo-poo. But yeah, so that was it for me. 1.4 for Crown Jewel. And again, we love wrestling. And if you guys ever want to talk to us on the side about anything, you can always hit us up on Facebook, and we'll definitely further go involved into our opinions and stuff like that, our POVs.
Yeah, and with that being said, yeah, we do have a wrestling Facebook. We do have a Facebook page. So any questions or comments that you want to put it on there. You know, especially with today's episode. If you agree with it, you agree with it. If you don't agree with it, that's fine. We still love y'all.
If you don't agree with us, fuck you.
And then of course we have our sister show, Wrestling POV Global, where Elio fucking took over, man. He was just like, fuck TJ, I'm taking this bitch over.
The Iron Man.
The Iron Man. But you know what? You know what though? I think Miguel had a lot to do with it. He sent something over to TJ and got him really sick.
Oh yeah, I got him really good. You want to talk about Iron Man? I've been here from the beginning. You mother.
Mother lovers. You freaking mother lovers. All right. With that being said, let's go over Raw notes. All right. For me, the highest point, I had a couple of them. I had the Ricochet versus Drew. Team Hogan, Team Flair. I thought that was really good.
That RKO, bro.
Let me tell you something. No, how Ricochet took
Ricochet
that RKO.
Sold that, yo.
Oh man, I was like, wow. But also I gave it a 3.5 stars. And also the Kairi Sane versus Becky Lynch. Man, I gave that one a 3.5 stars too. They were both equal in my opinion. I'm loving the Kabuki Warriors.
Yes.
They are definitely elevating the tag team division of the women. I love the new look. I love it. Nobody does it better than the Kabuki Warriors. I mean, come on, man. You guys got to jump on that train. The lowest point for me was just the Viking Raiders versus those two jobbers again. Why is the tag champions fighting jobbers? You know, bring in fucking, the jobbers are back. You know, bring in AOP. They've been doing these backstage vignettes for the longest time.
Are you not over those backstage vignettes? I'm over them.
You know what? I'm not. I kind of like it, but it's enough.
At first, it was good.
It reminds me of the twins from fucking Breaking Bad. It does, man. Those guys are freaking mean looking. That's scary. All right, so. My lowest point was just that your tag team champions should not be fighting jobbers. Okay, they really shouldn't. What's funny was that the two jobbers they dressed as Chicago Cubs, and did you see the tweets for that? The Chicago White Sox, they said something about that, and of course the Cubs responded to that with, "That's why AEW is better." I was like, I was like, wow, ouch. Overall, and the ending, I just hate. I'm not. It's just an honorable mention. I hated the ending of Raw, but I gave it a 2.4 based on the Kerry Zane match and Ricochet and Drew. So, all right, Rick and then Mimi.
All right, for me, the high point was the whole Asuka turning on Paige, spitting the poison mist. Becky and defeating Kerry Sane. Overall, I put that all together. I gave it a 3. I thought it was really good. I loved it. I loved the way they started the show. And then the Viking Raiders and the Chicago Cubs, I gave that a 1. It was garbage. Like you said. And Divorce Court, you ending the show with that. Like, you started off so hot. I was so excited for Raw, and then it just, like, slowly...
True.
I gave a Raw an overall of 2 stars.
Okay, Mimi.
I started off with a 3 and ended up with a 0.5. It's true. It started off hot. So, Kabuki Warriors, Team Hogan, those were my top. Oh, and Kerry Zane and Becky Lynch, those were my top 3s. And the 0.5 was the Lawler Divorce Court. Overall, it ended up being a 2.09.
Wow. All right. Wait, a 2.09 you said? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's go straight into NXT.
NXT POV. Mamma mia! So I had my high point, of course, is going to be the Kabuki Warriors versus Dakota and Tegan Knox. Oh my God, that got a 4.5. Okay. My low point, which is funny, it was still a 2, was the Finn Balor promo.
But it wasn't a bad promo.
It wasn't a bad promo, but that was my low point. But overall, I mean, like, I had 3s, 2.5s, Overall, 2.91 was NXT.
Wow. Rip.
All right, for me, like you said, Kabuki Warriors and Kai and Knox was 3.5 for me. I love that we're going to have a women's war games, the first ever. That was amazing. For me, I didn't catch it until now that Ciampa said title has to wait because Daddy's going to war. And then boom!
I didn't get that until you just said that just now.
Yeah.
So
mind blown.
But yeah, Reed versus Thorne, I gave that 1.5. I just didn't see where that fit in. So overall, I gave NXT a 2.4. Though I really enjoyed the show. Love the opening with Io Shirai, The Rock.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Io Shirai is like just a totally changed character now.
My God,
I love it. For me, the highest was the Kabuki Warriors versus Dakota Kai and Tegan Knox. They took 2 people who and nothing against Dakota Kai or Tegan Knox, but they're not my favorite. But they still took this match and made it into something. I gave it a 4. They're like I said, if WWE don't run away with this, they got problems. The lowest point was the Finn Balor promo, and only because it wasn't a bad promo, so I'm not saying anything bad, but that was my lowest score, which was 2 stars. Everything else was like a 2.5. I did, I enjoyed the Shane Thorne and Bronson Reed match. Shane Thorne he's got something there. He's got to work on it. But like I said, even the Keith Lee and Matt Riddle versus the Undisputed Era, I gave that a 3. It wasn't as good as the Kabuki Warriors, but it was still a good show. Overall, I gave NXT Kabuki Warriors. I gave NXT a 2.83.
Wow.
Yeah. I really enjoyed NXT, man. They had me on my feet. The thing of it is, for me, is that the women, they took over that show. When they went crazy and they all in there fighting, and breasts and butts are all over the place. Loved it.
That's why in Saudi they have them covered.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So, AEW.
All right.
Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, for me, AEW, listen, man, we have this thing with NXT versus AEW. Currently, NXT is ahead 3-1. I know a lot of the listeners and fan bases of AEW totally disagree with us. I think AEW beats out Raw and SmackDown every week.
But you know what they're basing that on? They're just basing it on the ratings. Instead of the actual show, they're saying, yeah, but AEW got more people listening to or watching their show.
Yeah,
but what about the wrestling?
I mean, Monday Night Football is on Monday, and Fridays, everybody goes out on Fridays. I'm sorry. So you're not going to get that rating bull crap with me.
Of course.
You know, and Elio and Tom, TJ, they put in their votes, and we'll get into that when we get to the end of this. But for me, AEW wasn't that great of a show. I think SCU defeating the Lucha Bros, that I gave a 3.5. I was really hyped because, you know what? We cannot make it so predictable. Like, the Lucha Bros are going to win. The Young Bucks are going to win. So I'm glad SCU gets it, and I like the team itself. Scorpio Sky is amazing, man. The guy has a lot of talent. The lowest point for me was Sheeta versus Shana. I gave that a 1. And you know what? I also, just an honorable mention, Paige versus Guevara. I don't see what they see in Guevara. I'm sorry,
I don't either.
Everybody says how great. Like, they are giving this guy a title that he does not deserve. First of all, he's not good looking. He's an ugly dude. And he's a Spanish stallion or whatever.
Yeah,
no, bro,
pretty
you're
boy.
like a fucking donkey, bro. You look like fucking the guy from the Goonies, bro.
All right, hater Miguel. Rick's round of the third.
AEW gets an overall 2.1 on my end.
Wow.
Damn.
Mimi?
Shayna and Hiraku Shida, I gave that a 1.5. The Best Friends is also 1.5. Those were my two lowest. And my highest score was, even though it was predictable, but I enjoyed the match a lot, was Sabian versus Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. That was a 2.5. My overall with AEW was a 1.92.
Wow. Yeah, for me, the lowest was the Three Jobbers versus Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm sorry to say, how long is everybody's on Orange Cassidy's dick, number one. It's like, how long are you going to do this gimmick for? Until it gets played out. I mean, seriously.
It's already
the hands in the pocket. I think it's hilarious, though. Let me just stop you there. It is hilarious, but how it's like telling the same knock joke every single time. You know what I'm saying? It just gets played out after a while. You're like, again, all right, fun.
The things that he does with it is just so good.
It is, but I mean, how many times are you gonna do this until it's not funny anymore? You know what I'm saying? And the Best Friends with the hug, stop, done. But that was the lowest point. The highest point was the hybrid. And Kip Sabian versus Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. That was my highest. That was a 3. Overall, I gave it AEW a 2.14.
All right.
Wow.
I wasn't happy with it, but hey.
All right, so let's go over AEW versus NXT. The Wednesday Night Delight. Currently, NXT's up 3-1. We cast in our votes for TJ and Elio. They both went with NXT this week.
Oh, wow.
So I also went with NXT this week.
Yeah, well, don't matter what me and Mimi said that.
Yeah.
But no, listen, I had the highest score for NXT, so you know what
I went with NXT myself, so it's a unanimous.
Wow, that's the second time that's happened.
Oh, really?
NXT.
Yeah, and I have to say this, and I know I hate to agree with Tony, but I'm gonna agree with Tony, is that AEW is owned by wrestlers. And who the fuck do we see all the time is fucking Cody, Jericho, the Young Bucks,
Omega.
Stop. Give somebody else a chance to fucking wrestle. You guys have good people back there who can wrestle. Fucking let them wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, nobody knows who they are. So why not give those people vignettes? At least for the first couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, you're hyping up Cody's wife, with her little vignette, but she hasn't wrestled. So, you know what I'm saying? Why not do the same for those other guys?
Yeah.
Enough is enough. Okay.
And it's time for a change.
Time for a change.
Rest in peace.
All right, so with that being said, NXT goes up 4-1.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Wrestling POV podcast and Wrestling POV Global is affiliated with the Collar and Elbow brand. Go to collarandelbowbrand.com and save yourself 10% by using promo code WPOV. With that being said, it is now time for the Smackdown Breakdown! All right, ladies and gentlemen, for me, SmackDown, you know what? The best part of SmackDown was the Saudi Arabian delaying the flight. Because, wow. SmackDown, you have finally brought it. You have brought it.
NXT have brought it to SmackDown.
Hey,
Put it right.
listen, last year when SmackDown invaded Raw got the win because SmackDown went to Raw and killed it. So this week, NXT, you did bring it. Adam Cole versus Daniel Bryan was a 4 for me. It was a great match. I loved it. Yo,
Yeah,
Shawn Michaels took off his jacket. He put him in. Oh, it's cold?
It was just cold. Dumbass.
But that was
Lowest?
hilarious, though.
What was your lowest, Rick?
My lowest for me was the Brock promo. I gave it a 1.5.
Yeah.
I didn't understand until you.
1.5?
Yeah. Until Tony said it today, now it makes sense that the reason why they did it was because the NXT people were delayed. Because I was like, why are we watching this match again?
Yeah.
And why are we watching Rey Mysterio do this again?
Yeah.
But, yeah, for me. But overall, SmackDown had a 2.8 stars.
Wow.
Tony?
Yeah, for me, you know, like I said, that beginning part, I was just like, you got to be kidding me with this shit. I gave it a 0.5. That was my lowest. My highest was the Adam Cole versus Daniel Bryan match, man. That was really good. But you know what really made me mad is the fact that I seen online people were pissed off about this match because Daniel Bryan lost to an NXT guy. I'm like, are you number one, he's the champion. He's the champion. Okay? Number two, they brought a match. They just got there and they were able to do that type of match.
Exactly.
Come on, man. You can't just give credit to fucking Daniel Bryan. You got to give a lot of credit to Adam Cole to fucking do this. Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. Time out. Hold the phone. We're going back a little bit. It's to the Saudi to the Crown Jewel, which is the red light district during that match. It has to go in the damn book.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I am so tired of that fucking red light. It makes the match hard to see. They need to stop. So you know what? It's going in the book until they take it off. So Rick, do the honors.
All right, the red light district. You just made the book.
Yeah. And another thing, I'm putting Triple H in the book this week. And the reason why is Triple H, you got no business saying, baby.
He too white.
You know, we were just talking about racism.
He too old.
We were just talking about racism, Mimi, and you coming out with that.
But he's too old. All right, I take it back. He's too old.
Saying that. All right, so I mean, I don't know how to put it in the book though. So Triple H is baby. Can we say it like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Triple H is baby.
All right.
We'll go with that. All right, so Rick, do the honors again.
Triple H's baby. You just made the book.
No,
you gotta say the way he said it.
how he said it. Not like, thank you.
Triple H's baby. You just made the book.
He didn't say it like that, Rick. He said baby.
Baby.
Triple H's baby.
Thank you.
You just made the book.
All right, there we go. There was, I mean, this week's SmackDown, last night's SmackDown was definitely the cat's meow. I love the fact that Shayna Baszler came in and beat the shit out of Bayley. I love Matt Riddle and Keith Lee showing up. They surprisingly got a big pop. I didn't realize, let me tell you something, I didn't realize how big Keith Lee is until he got into SmackDown.
Oh, hell yeah.
Being at Full Sail does no justice for him. In that big ass arena, and he still looked huge. Mm-hmm. I was like, damn, that's a big bugger.
I'm sorry. Honorable mention because I watched it on the Spanish channel and they were spoofing on fucking Matt Riddle's chancletas.
Oh, were they really?
Oh my God. On SAP, they were like, mira, Matt Riddle con la chancleta. Ese hombre con la chancleta. Yo, I died. I was dying.
Yeah, the lowest, like I said, the lowest point was just the recap and the Brock promo. That was just dumb.
Yeah.
And of course, Adam Cole versus Danny Bryan, that was a 4. I gave that a 4. But other honorable mentions, I do gotta throw this out there. It's just Tommaso Ciampa and the Miz match.
Oh, that was a good match. It
Sonya
wasn't a
Deville and Mandy Rose against Rhea Ripley and Tegan Knox. I think they could have picked somebody else than Tegan Knox. I think they should have
Bianca Belair.
or Bianca Belair, but I think they wanted to show as much NXT people as they can. So they made Bianca Belair go back there and beating the shit out of 2 women. Okay,
Yeah.
so that just made her stronger. And then
I just want to throw out Carmella's acting skills in the book because homegirl, what were you doing?
It was terrible.
She looked like she was like just thinking of something sad.
Right?
So
dumb.
what the hell? So, Carmella's acting skills. You just read the book.
There we go. And then, like I said, just the fact that Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville versus Rhea Ripley and Tegan Knox, even that was good. It was, but, even though I was a big fan of SmackDown last night, it did take NXT to show up to make it that good. And again, I agree with you though, Rick. Thank God there was a plane delay over in Saudi Arabia. That's the only thing they did right. It is. Overall, I gave SmackDown a 2.58. I think that's going to change today. Rick, go ahead.
Mimi, go ahead.
Oh, Mimi, she didn't get
yes.
My bad.
But my high point was Adam Cole and Daniel Bryan. My low point, again, was the same thing as you guys with a recap of the Brock match. 3.5 between the Shayna Baszler attacking Bailey and a 3.5 with the Miz against Ciampa. My overall was a 2.83.
Wow.
All right. Well, with that being said, it's now time for Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT. NXT is currently leading 14 to Raw's 12 to SmackDown's 3. Man.
That's abuse.
You know what? But don't call it a comeback because I went with SmackDown this week. Let's go.
All right. For me, like I said, my ratings, but of course I am going to change it. NXT was a 2.83. I had Raw with a 2.4, and I had SmackDown with a 2.5. So the order that I had was NXT, SmackDown, and then Raw. But like I said, I'm gonna change it. The thing of it is, like, I really, excuse me again, but I just really, really loved NXT. They showed so much in that. Just so to make it controversial, I'm gonna go with NXT this week. I loved Raw. Don't get me wrong, and I do want to change it to NXT to SmackDown. But I'm going with NXT this week. Mimi.
All right, Mimi.
Well, my Raw was a 2.09, NXT was a 2.91, and SmackDown was a 2.83. And I have to say, Tony, I'm gonna go with SmackDown. Because
I'm not mad. I'm not mad.
Because of the fact
I'm not going to put up a fight.
Well, don't call it a comeback. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't call it a comeback.
I love NXT. The matches were fantastic, but the fact that the NXT people went there and kicked fucking ass, that's what makes SmackDown good.
Now, my thing is, what's going to happen on Raw and on NXT?
I want to see.
So next week is going to be interesting.
The one thing that I'm confused about, though, is that at the end of the show, Triple H said Raw, SmackDown versus NXT.
Yeah.
They're not doing that, right? And where they're combining Raw and SmackDown. Like, it should be all three.
It should be all three, yeah. And, well, on the promo that I saw, it was Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT.
NXT, yeah.
But, Triple H could have actually meant it as, they're going to war with them two.
Right.
But, but yeah, no, yeah.
All right. So with that being said, SmackDown gets the win. First time in about a month or two.
But please don't say it's a comeback.
Come back.
Don't say it's a comeback, Rick.
NXT
That's ridiculous.
14
and it's
to Raw's 12 and to SmackDown's 4. It's coming back, baby.
No, it's
Boom.
not. They're gonna have to do shows like that just about from now till WrestleMania for
Exactly.
SmackDown to get a chance. So, all right. With that being said, it is time for the Wrestling POV's book. Those that are new to the show, we put the most ridiculous things that happen in the week of wrestling. And of course, we got some new entrants in, and it's just for shits and giggles. It's just to have fun with it and to laugh. We get to laugh at these things, people. And why not bring it back so we can keep laughing like Rick just did? All right, so we guys ready? You guys ready? All right, so Matt Riddle's chanclas.
Come on, man.
Hey, especially with the SAP.
With the Spanish, when they talked about it,
Oh my God.
Yeah, they suffer from PTSD from that shit. Lafayette, Louisiana crowd.
They go to Lafayette again.
Go back.
Bailey's badonkadonk. That stays. I'm never gonna take that off because I love saying it. Dick Flair.
He's a dick.
He's a dick.
Well,
He's a drunk dick.
Let's give it
You
another
call him
week.
Double D.
Double D.
Drunk dick.
A dirty dick.
Oh, man, that's disgusting. That's nasty. All right, no. Let's give it another week. If he doesn't show up, because Crown Jewel is over with, so let's see. If he doesn't show up next week at all, then we'll take him off. Booker T's booger beard.
Oh, that stays.
Ew. Stays.
Ricky's booger beard.
Ricky's booger beard. Cesaro's higher water capris.
Oh my God. Bruh.
Nikki Badonkadunky.
That stays too.
Yeah. Bobby Lashley's painted on eyebrows.
Bro, they are so bad.
Terrible. All right, and the new entrance into the book, the Red Light District, that stays. Triple H's baby, and Carmella's acting skills.
Oh
my God, that was horrible.
Was terrible.
May I please have your attention? The store will be closing in 5 minutes.
Why do they try to kick us out so fast?
I don't know.
Damn, don't they know who we are?
Don't you know who I is?
Right? All right, with that being said, that is the end of the show. Before we close it out, we're going to play a song from my playlist of over 2,000 songs. So I kind of took some off. My bad. But yeah, I took some of it off just because it took a lot of space on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
It did. So basically, all you got to do is beat the Wrestling POV crew. That's all you got to do. It's just how we ride off into the sunset until next week with all you guys' comments and questions and give you guys another good show. Yeah, that too. All right. With that being said, I am your host, Tony Diaz, along with
Mimi Goody.
And the third wheel.
Rick Serrano the third.
And our intern.
Miguel Cole, adios.
Love, peace, and wrestling. Shut up. This motherfucker. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace out.
All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Ready.
That's a WCW thing.
Oh, I know this. Who is it? Oh.
Come on.
Oh, that's not Jackie. Oh, it's recent. Oh,
Initials are MM.
Michelle McCool?
Michelle McCool. I'll give you another one. That was hard. I think you lost on that one.
Yeah. Fellas!
Wait, hold on. You can't stop that. I'm short.
That's terrible. All right. Well, that's it. What is going on here, man? Jesus.
Stuff you don't see on audio.
Rick was twerking, so y'all gotta go see the video version. Wow. Oh.
You can look, but you can't touch. You can't breathe.
Are you guys done?